entire thing where he's trying to find the words to explain what's going on here is all happening because he got caught in a lie. Because there are detractors out there, not me, I'm not doing it. There are detractors out there who are watching his every word and they're looking at the campaigns carefully. People like Vickyverse, even though Vickyverse is not fucking doing her job. Vickyverse is an Eric July ball washer now, her and her retarded co-host, washing Eric July's balls instead of actually listening to what he says and holding him to account for his lies. Washing Eric July's balls. Washing Eric July's balls. Washing Eric July's balls. Young Rip is in the chat. How you doing, Eric? Great to see you. Thanks for being Eric. Oh my God, please shout us out. Please send the link out to people, and I would love to come on your show sometime this week.
What is up, guys?
Hello, everybody.
We are live. Eric July's biggest ball washers are live yet again. Coming at you with another stream. But, man.
Jesus.
Eric July ball washers. Now, before we get into the main stuff, just wanted to talk about this for a second. It's like we've never been supporters of Eric July.
No.
Back when CG was doing non-stop ISOM promo videos, including Ethan, streams promoting ISOM non-stop, how great it is, how great Eric July is.
Because they all wanted to work for him.
And just get shout-outs. We were doing Eric July, quote-unquote, detractor streams.
We were just tractors before it became popular.
Yeah. And since then, we have still not supported Eric July. But Ethan seems to really want people to fight his battles for him.
Yeah.
It's our job to fight his battles for him. Well, it's Vicky and her retarded co-host. I don't know who he's talking about. Her retarded co-host job to fight his battles.
Fight his battles.
What type of pussy needs other people to fight their battles?
What type of man needs a woman to do it for him?
Yeah, everybody knows women aren't good at fighting battles, and they shouldn't have to. That's where I was going with it. They shouldn't have to. They're ladies. And they're not good at anything.
What am I supposed to say? I'm totally confused by what I'm supposed to be complaining about this statue. Okay, so all right. The only thing I could say is he exaggerated the contract that he has with McFarlane Toys, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's just paying they're not partnering up.
What is that about? I mean, if you're going to get into it, maybe explain it for people that don't follow.
He's literally just paying McFarlane to make the statues.
Yeah, Eric July is making a Yaira statue through
a $500 Yaira statue. It's going to be like a limited edition. I think maybe 1,200, possibly 1,500. I'm not really sure on the number. But it's not because I'm not doing my job. I'm sorry. I'm not going to ride the man that hard over fulfilling a stretch goal that he didn't meet and still giving people product when Ethan's sitting there and can't even fulfill the product, never mind the stretch goals.
Yeah.
And not because I'm trying to like compare them one to the other, but man, I've had other shit to talk about.
There's been much more
interesting things to talk about than fucking Eric July, delivering on a stretch goal he didn't meet.
Yeah. There has been much more interesting stuff. We've had the Mandy stuff, the Ethan audio leaks, way more interesting than
things than Eric July.
It's just not as fun with Eric July because he stopped responding.
How many months can you sit there and be like, It's supposed to be a Yaira winner. The book's, it's late because it was supposed to be a Yaira. Okay, right?
Talk about late books.
We got that, like, you know, back in fucking December. Like, I mean, when Yaira comes out, I'll read it. I've already talked about on Twitter about some of the really shitty editing choices by apparently Andrew Rodriguez, his lead editor.
God, I
I
hope
think
you don't.
some of the stuff I've seen reads like Eric wrote it. I mean, it's just bizarre. It's a strange.
I'm really hoping she doesn't, because that's terrible content.
I'll put it on my channel.
Oh, thank God.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, go to Vicky's channel if you want to watch the No, I'm just joking. But we have much more important things to talk about, mainly the Balldo Brigade and their top general, Ethan Van Sciver, defending Nick Rekieta and his wife by blaming his kids for the neglect that they've had to suffer.
It was an odd choice.
Yes, odd choice. His main defense is, well, my childhood was shitty and I had shitty parents. So it's okay, I guess. But we'll hear it from his words. But that is his defense. It is crazy.
It is crazy.
But we also have LawTube is in shambles.
Yeah. Yeah, the Nick Bros versus the, I don't know what you want to call them.
Yeah, the Balldo Brigade versus the people that don't like child neglect.
Won't excuse child neglect.
Yeah,
for
it's
clout.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine excusing child neglect for clout on the internet.
It is wild. It is wild.
It is wild. It's wild to me.
It is very fucking crazy. So let's just sort of get into things, guys. There we have our mascot, the bipolar bear. He's walking. And before we get into things, let's just have him run it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that.
Too.
I just like to show it off.
It's nice.
So let's have him do it again. and now we can really get into things, guys. I'm sorry. We're gonna start off with LawTube. LawTube. Law crying.
Law crying.
What did the pastor do wrong? The pastor turned in my friend.
Oh no.
And you're like, he had to. And I'm like, and therefore what? He had no choice. Okay. And that impacts me because why? I'm allowed to resent him. I'm allowed to resent him, and I do. So, that's that.
A glass container, a baggie, a large corner cut bag of cocaine. You've got a baggie, several baggies in the safe. You've got Ziplocs with a substance in there. You've got a digital scale, a metal pan, 2 other snort tubes, the famous $100 bill with a white powdery substance. He literally had to do like the Scarface over here. You had to go down there and actually use the $100 bill. He had to go for that, fill in that piece. And then you've got a scooper, 2 baggies, a Springfield Armory 45 1911. That's interesting. A Sig Sauer 38 magazines, right? Ammunition, a shotgun, and Remington 870. I have an 870, and a bullet for the master closet. So he's got Sergeant Holtz says people need to stop blaming Nick's friends for not doing something to stop him. Stop coping. Everything is in the hands of the addict. Nothing will happen until the addict decides they need help. This is coming from an 8-year-old sober alcoholic. Yes, I agree with that. Although what I can say is at this point, Sergeant, here's what I will say. At this point, as a streamer, is just blocking for Nick in an emotional appeal, and all you're making is like emotional appeals, like he's my friend. That's not doing as a lawyer, especially a law tuber, you're not doing good coverage, and you're not doing your job. And frankly, there's a reason why people are not watching your channel, because a lot of those people, if you watch their channels, they're dying. They're dying because they're dishonest, and people can sense that. You guys can sense when people are being honest. This is something it's conflicting for me. And yeah, I do try to present it objectively as I can, but it is difficult to cover, but I don't bullshit. Right. And these people at a certain point are bullshitting. And I'll even say this. Some of them had told me behind the scenes that they know it's worse, but they don't want to say anything. Tech Daddy said, even if the person who reported this has issues with Nick, does that legally matter after all this? Nope. Does not matter. Does not matter. Even if they hated Nick, even if they were prejudiced against Nick, even if they were bigoted, it does not matter, because it is a accumulation of facts. So even if, and by the way, who is it? Right, the mandatory. So is he saying the mandatory reporter has the bias, or the teacher? Is Nick gonna say his children have a bias against him?
But
Are they
should.
Say his children had a bias against him?
Against him
is that
at
going
this
to be
point.
a defense that he tries to raise? Very interesting. Thank you for covering this from the legal side so much. Sigrun says, it's wild that I stopped watching Nick for multiple reasons before all the substance abuse problems, and then the next time I get a wind of Reki's shenanigans as well. This, yes. A lot of people are coming back into this, and they were tuned in for Amber Heard or Rittenhouse or another trial, and now they're coming back to Nick Reki being the one on trial. I'll say this. That's why a lot of those law tubers were scared to say anything, because they're scared of the friendship argument, the Barnes type arguments, which I'm just reading this now. We're going to get to the Barnes stuff after. We're going to read the Barnes stuff. So don't worry. We're going to get to Barnes, okay? Because he's flipping out. And he's getting into potentially defamatory territory, right? They're afraid of their little circle jerk. This is why I cover my own topics. This is why I hang out in the pop culture sphere. I hang out with people like Midnight's Edge, like Valiant, doing Disney coverage. This is why I do VTuber coverage. It's on my own shit.
Yeah, but Midnight's Edge,
I don't hang out with these people and do the law tube circle jerk, right? It hasn't been something I've done. The first time I've had those guys on for a panel in a long time was that. And every single person that came on that knew that I was going to do that objectively. And I told them all, I warned them. I said, we're only talking about the law. Don't get into your fucking bullshit friendship speeches. Steve Gosney tried to start it. And Steve is my friend. And I told him, you heard me live. I said, don't start that friendship bullshit. We're not doing that in this channel. We're not doing that. You can go on your own channel and you can do your little friendship is magic speech. Not fucking here. Not today. Not on my channel. We're not doing it. Sigrun says, it's wild that I stopped watching Nick for multiple reasons before all the substance abuse problems. And then the next time I get a wind of Reki's shenanigans as well.
Grabbed that
this,
twice,
yes.
but hold on.
Yes. A lot of people are coming back into this, and they were tuned in for Amber Heard. Okay. Lurkmore says, a little reminder, Andrew, for your own reputation, you need to screen cap DMs before they all disappear and everything is started. I don't give a fuck about that shit. First of all, there's like literally 20 other people that are in this that'll back me up and substantiate what I said. So I'm not afraid of that. And number two, I don't give a fuck what people say about me. I don't give a good goddamn, right? I'm a factual based person. I'm an evidence person. I'm state what happens. I don't care what people say in forums or corners of the internet. I'm going to keep reporting things the way I reported. If you like it, tune into my show, like and comment, which please like the video. If you like this reporting, if you like this type of coverage, if you think I've done a decent professional job on this, if you think I've upheld a certain level of professionalism, I would hope that you'd like the video and maybe just leave a comment. Thank you for your coverage.
How did this still make it in the final edit, Vicky?
I'm not sure.
What is wrong with you? He's just talking about how good he is at covering
that
things.
did not mean to get that in the final edit.
I would appreciate that, but I'm not afraid of what other people think about me. Fuck that. Jay, and by the way, that's why a lot of the law tubers, I'm going to say this.
Did I do that twice?
That's why a lot of time I've had those guys on for a panel. And a long time was that.
Just
and every single person, to hate on him anyways. There are people who think Rittenhouse shot 3 black people and let off. Yeah. Here's the thing. Even if he gets out of this, the streams look bad to a reasonable person. The cop used the fact, let's go down here, that Nick in his videos appears to have lost weight, tired, and strung out. He doesn't look good. His appearance changed. A reasonable person can conclude that Nick is fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is now a fact.
But it's his kid's fault. How dare they not put their father through an intervention? They need to step up, guys.
Make him eat more than
He tries to
ramen.
raise. Very interesting. Thank you for covering this from the legal side. So much bullshit and friend coping over Nick. I think my pleasure. My pleasure. Nick bashed several judges in his jurisdiction. Now he'll be at their mercy. This will be a factor in the plea deal or sentencing. I would plea if I were him. My suggestion, Nick, is shut the fuck up. Get off of Twitter. Get off of the internet. Get off of locals. Go over there and start talking about a plea deal. You're going to get a lot further than arguing with a bunch of people in dude. Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. Nick just literally, he said, I'm not saying anything else. Talk to me in DMs. And then he drops fucking three DMs after that. No, sorry, 3 group messages after that, stating facts that can be used against him in court. Nick is making statements about the guns and where they are and what they were doing. And he's making these statements in a fucking group DM. This guy is retarded. This guy is retarded. He's a fucking idiot right now.
No, he's always been an idiot.
Oh, he's always been an idiot. Yeah.
Not just now. In the past, present, and future, Nick has always been and always will be a retard.
And it's so weird how much shit like he's been involved in, like gay oppy shit he's been involved in that's like never ever even been talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre to me.
And I can tell you right now, I'm much nicer than a lot of these motherfuckers in here because a lot of the people in this group text are fucking clout goblins. I'm going to say that. They're going to fucking take advantage of this.
And
Nick is so fucked if he keeps this shit up. I'm sorry. I looked over at the screen and I'm like, holy fucking shit. This guy is an idiot.
It is difficult because I feel like slowly and somewhat surely my image of the man is being replaced by the man, and it's not a happy, fun feeling. And I appreciate you being here with me as I go through it. Malcolm X for Australian 299 said, "What about Milk Constitution? None of the constitutional arguments work. None of them work. They're all shit." Thank you for being here. The Fourth Amendment argument just went to shit. That was the only thing that was left. The Eighth Amendment argument, I guess technically he still has that, but at this point, good luck. So the First Amendment argument's dead. The Second Amendment argument's dead. The Fourth Amendment argument's dead. The Fifth Amendment argument's dead. The Sixth Amendment argument is dead. And the Eighth Amendment argument maybe, but not really. So it's not great.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Josh McCarty.
Can we get a suicide watch for uncivil law? He's not doing too well.
He's not doing well.
He was the top general in the Balldo Brigade, but then he realized he's starting to realize
He stepped down to Barnes.
Yeah. And his image of Nick is getting destroyed. He's just not doing good, guys.
He's not doing well.
We need a suicide watch on this man.
For $10 says, didn't he get charged with child neglect? In a technical sense, yes, but not in the sense in which I would typically use the term. Technically, yes, he was charged with technically child neglect, but the child neglect was merely that the kids were present at a place in which drugs were, which I don't think most people, when you say child neglect, that's what they think of. I think most people, when they think child neglect, think the person is being abused, the kids are not being clothed, they're not being, fed, they're not being taken to the hospital, and so forth and so on. So yes, it was technical child neglect, but now we have actual child neglect, and my feelings have changed somewhat substantially. Hi, Kurt. It seems Robert Barnes strongly feels probable cause. Hi, Kurt. It seems Robert Barnes strongly feels that probable cause for the search warrant is bogus, implying it will likely get tossed. Thoughts? Robert Barnes has his head up his ass if he thinks that the search warrant has a realistic possibility of getting tossed. That is a dumb thing to think. That is an incredibly stupid thing to think. If Robert Barnes thinks this search warrant has a strong possibility of getting tossed, Robert Barnes has his head up his ass. This is a sound search warrant. If I really put my thinking hat on it, I could dick around on it. But it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter because the standards are objective. The police officer, by his own statements, showed us the investigation he did. He showed us all the objective steps he did. Those objective steps seemed correct. He then presented those objective steps to a judge who had to make a determination whether there was probable cause that drugs could be found in the house. What is our basis for thinking probable cause could be found in the house? Well, I think he used drugs on stream. Why do you think there are drugs on stream? Well, insert other things that leads us to that conclusion, right? As I sort of said, the video by itself isn't enough. If all they had was the video, it wouldn't be enough. But they don't. They have other things, right? And so you have piece upon piece upon piece upon piece upon piece buttressing each other and reaching the conclusion of probable cause, which by, again, it's a very, very low standard. It's like 1 out of 10. It's a very, very low standard. So yeah, I mean, Robert Barnes has his head up his ass if he thinks this search warrant is going to go away. It would take a miracle worker. I do not have high hope. Isaac for $10 says, I'm against drug control to a deranged degree. My comments on drug controllers are beyond the pale, but child neglect like that calls for punishment. It's an abandonment of solemn responsibilities. I tend to agree. I am not happy about what happened to his kids. That makes me very sad inside. I am a sad panda. Linda
that
Richards says, I'm sorry.
Sad panda.
Sorry, Kurt. I know it hurts. It does. It does hurt. It does hurt.
This is it.
It does hurt, and
Oh no.
yeah.
Oh no, guys.
Raven Johnson became an uncivilian. Thank you for hitting the join button.
Oh, which reminds me.
Chill.
Consider becoming a member of the channel. Be a pay pig. Join the pay pigs. There's like 3 of them. And
Just so Dean can call you a pay pig.
Don't you want to be a pay pig for just $5 a month?
Don't you want to be a pay pig too?
You too could be a pay pig and use this pay pig emote. So yeah.
Plots Magoots for $4.99 says, I appreciate you having an open mind and seeing the big picture. That's all you can really do, man. It's all you can really do. It's all you can really hope for anybody. Take the information you have. Take the information you have. Think. Get more information. Think. Right? I mean, that's what we want everyone to do. We want everyone to take information and think. The new information paints a darker picture. The new information paints a picture that is much more concerning. The officer points out that my friend had lost a lot of weight. I'm like, oh yeah, he did. You're right. The officer points out that Kayla lost a lot of weight. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. The officer points out that this is indicative of people who have drug use and are strung out. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Now, I know to a lot of you guys, that may seem obvious, and perhaps it is.
It was.
But I couldn't see it. Maybe it's because I didn't want to see it.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh no. Oh no, he's crying.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's crying.
Maybe it's because I didn't want to see it.
You already said that.
Maybe it's because
he's crying.
He's my friend.
He's allowed to repeat.
Maybe it's because I haven't had the experience.
Seriously, guys, we need to put a watch out on this guy. He's not doing good. It gets better. uncivil law.
I'm sorry. But having it pointed out to me.
Winchell says this guy needed a detective to point out that Nick lost weight and he talks law. Yeah. Viviviro. What type of name? Senviviro says this dude is so pathetic and retarded if he didn't see it. That would be some people's take. My take as well. Most people's take. Pretty much anybody's take. Everybody's take.
Yeah.
Pathetic and retarded. I blame Tug's kids for all this, actually. Says Midnight Cherry. That's fair. That is fair. Them all pretending to care is hilarious. No, I think this guy is actually crying.
No, I think he does.
Yeah, this guy is actually crying.
That's why he was so angry at the beginning, and now he just feels, like betrayed and angry, and he's angry at Nick, and he's angry at himself for not noticing, and it's a big mess.
Morg says he's crying in front of everyone, like some kind of cider hype. Great stuff. Great stuff. Sound it out. Oh, Senviviro. Vivaro.
Senviviro.
See, you had an issue with it too.
I did too, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just us.
Okay. Sludge and Wedge for 314 says the investigative facts don't look good in this case.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. But yeah, so Barnes created some big, huge conspiracy theory too. He's nose guarding so hard. He came up with this conspiracy. Like one point he was talking about how the Biden administration was trying to shut up an important voice on the internet. But then
checks out.
there was also he's so powerful. He's such a powerful voice in his county and his small little town that they just had to shut him up because he's their biggest critic. And I'm like, he's the biggest critic of the judge who is overseeing his case against Montegraph.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much he's just that guy that gets drunk and rants on the internet. Like, I would imagine most people just dismiss Nick. Or at least what he says, right?
No, there's a lot of fans of Nick.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of fans of Nick, but these, quote, people he's criticizing.
Oh, I'm sure they don't give two shits about what Nick says.
Yeah.
DSP has gotten major wins off Nick lately. Like,
yeah,
that's how much you should disregard what Ricada says.
Yeah.
If DSP is pulling wins on you, fuck, man. Like, you have to be on drugs.
I once saw DSP say we should bomb Mexico because of the war on drugs. Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was gorgeous.
And this guy is pulling wins. I once watched DSP review Cup of Noodles as if it was a brand new thing that nobody's ever heard of. And that guy is pulling major fucking wins off Nick. Fuck me.
I watched Tug do a review of a lawn sprinkler once.
Why?
It was on his old channel, or it was on his channel before he started doing Comicsgate stuff, right? So his original channel was all weird review stuff. And he had this, he reviewed this sprinkler. It was attached to a hose, and he was huffing and puffing by the time he walked like the 30 feet it took to get from the sprinkler to the faucet. It was weird.
Yeah. So let's see.
Sorry, Tug was on Yellow Flash's stream, so he's a little stuck in my head.
One of the biggest injustices is that Rekieta was taken off of Wiggles' grift tourney when clearly he should have remained. That is true.
Yes.
I think this guy is actually crying too, but I get the feeling that he cries 3 times a day. Yeah. And when he looks at himself in the mirror and he needs a detective to point out that he needs to diet.
Ouch.
Fair. That is fair. And the Midnight Cherry says, it's crazy that no one had Rekieta involved in drug bust on their 2024 CG bingo.
Shoulda.
Should have.
They should have.
They should have. And somebody says, Cherry says, I never saw it coming. You expect lawyers to be better at evading police.
Oh, you expect lawyers to not talk to the cops, which is what Rekieta did.
Yeah.
Too, right?
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was so slick that he talked to the cops, and he lied to the cops.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
It was good stuff.
Good stuff. All right, we got another video. This is EVS. So let's watch.
And I'm like, at what point do you walk away from a friend? I like, and Nick Rekieta isn't somebody who I considered like a close friend because I've never met him. But I mean, I did stream with him a lot. I liked him. He's a very likable guy. He called me up the other day, which I
really
had a nice conversation with him, which
he really shouldn't have his camera on.
Now in hindsight is even more sad, and all these things. But at what point do you just kind of go, yeah, I can't. What do the people from the urban neighborhoods say? I can't rock with you. I can't rock with you. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure because again, like I'm somebody who is just like, all right, look, if somebody is gonna hang with me and kind of stand by me, I'm gonna try to do the same for them. But at what point do I get to just go, you know what, fuck this, and kind of move on? It's really, really hard. And I want you to understand one thing about me. I'm human. I'm very human. And I don't always make the right choices with that regard.
Hardly ever does EVS make the right choices. Just look at him. Just look at his fat fucking face. Does that look like a man who makes the right choices?
No.
And I'm not really sure. You know what I mean? I don't know. This is a profoundly confusing situation.
For who?
No urban youth says that, says Krabby Patty. They all say that. They say, I can't rock with that. I don't rock with him. I don't rock with you. But sometimes they'll say...
Who is this a confusing situation for? Oh, do I defend Nick? Do I not defend Nick? It's a pretty fucking obvious choice. With everything that's come out,
it's not even necessarily that binary, either. Like you can support Nick's recovery, but you cannot enable him any further. Or you don't have to, it's that
well, no, it is.
notion,
do you defend Nick or do you not defend Nick? That's the same thing.
Sin, hate the sin, love the sinner kind of thing.
Yeah, but do you defend Nick or do you not defend him?
Well, I don't defend him.
Well,
I don't defend what he's done. You can still, you can still support Nick and still condemn what he did.
Well, yeah, but that's a step further, though.
Well, it's what like a normal person would do.
No, but I'm saying, do you defend the child neglect and the drug stuff, or do you not defend it?
You don't defend that.
Well, no. Yeah, it's an obvious choice. It's not confusing.
Instead of rock, they'll say the F word. Yeah, I'm not really sure, guys, and I'm navigating this as best as I can, and you're gonna have to be patient with me because I don't really know. I want to be merciful to people who are kind to me, and Nick has never done anything wrong to me personally, but oh boy, as a parent, this is really rough, guys. Really, really, really rough. And we're gonna go through it. Look at this. Tradcons are boring.
It be rough.
Wait till all the facts come out before judging, says Lord Tapman's Comics. Yes. No, not necessarily. I'll wait till... No, I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna judge. And then what's gonna happen is the facts are gonna modify my judgment. Well, I've already made my judgment about this. I like Nick. I'm on Nick's side, okay? But on the other hand, this stuff is not good. This is not good behavior.
Well, no shit.
On the one hand, I like Nick, and I've known him for a long time.
This is the next day.
Through, not like personally, but live streamed with him. I've known him from the internet. I've made jokes with him. I've watched him drink whiskey. So I like him, and I'm on his side. On the other hand, there are the allegations against him. Clearly, he's using drugs.
It took him like
clearly
2 days to try to like wrangle where he was gonna land on this exactly, and he picked the weirdest fucking spot.
Yeah,
right?
he did.
Like he sort of did a test run the first night with the chat, see how it would go, see how far he could take, what buttons to push, how the chat was gonna, which way he kind of slid when he slid in one direction or another, how the chat reacted to it.
It's
like
so weird to judge where you should land on stances based off what the chat has to say. Let me be clear. I appreciate you guys all watching. I don't give a shit what your opinion is on things that I'm going to have an opinion on, which is everything.
Yeah.
You guys can have your opinions, and that's great, and you can express them in the chat. Never once is it ever going to affect how I think about something, because fuck you guys and your opinions. I appreciate you all being here, but I don't give a shit what you guys think about things in comparison to my own thoughts on things. And that's how people just should fucking live.
Yep. But they don't do that on the internet.
Yeah.
Like these people don't do that. Right. It's all about keeping the chat happy so you can rake in all that money and get your super chat quota for the day.
Yeah, which reminds me, guys, consider becoming a pay pig. I definitely care what every one of you has to say and think. Consider becoming a pay pig.
In the process of using drugs, some things about his life have fallen through the cracks, and he's currently going to be put through the legal system for those things. I don't care what people say. I like Nick, and I want him to get through this. That doesn't mean I want him to escape accountability. I think he needs to be held accountable so that he can find reality underneath his feet and start to rebuild his life, right? And that's what I want for him. But do I want him to suffer? Like these people want him to suffer and go to prison. And somebody said on Twitter, they said, Nick should be in prison for what he did to those children. What did he do to the children exactly? These people some of you guys are crazy.
What did he do to the children exactly? Well, pretty much nothing, and that's the problem.
Nothing. That's the exact point.
He didn't feed them. He didn't bathe them. He let them go to school in the same clothes days on end. He didn't do anything. That's the issue, EVS. He didn't do anything. He didn't do his fucking job as a parent.
You understand? Some of you people are fucking nuts for what he did to his children. Now, I grew up in a house with I had 8 brothers and sisters. There were 9 of us. My dad, who you guys met and you liked, he's turned his life around. When I was growing up, my dad had a problem with drugs. And
Risey, I always notice you. I always notice you.
I do too.
But actually,
you more. He notices
you
more.
haven't said anything since earlier, but that was at the start of the stream, and I didn't read any of those chats. But I always notice you. I noticed that you said stuff because I love you, Risey.
Oh, that was so sweet.
It was sweet.
And
any of you that thinks that's gay,
you're right.
Probably right. Probably right.
He neglected us. He didn't pay the bills. All kinds of problems. I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like. You can't tell now. I know what it's like to go to school having not eaten all day because there's no food in the house. I know what it's like to not have lunch money in my pocket. I know what it's like to be wearing old clothes from 3 years ago that are unwashed. I know what this all is. I know what it's like. My parents dropped the ball too. But if they had gone to prison for that, our lives would have been immeasurably worse.
Yes, because your grandparents weren't rich. You see, Nick's kids' lives would be immeasurably better, infinitely better, because their grandparents care about them and they're fucking rich. Not really the same situation.
Than they were. Okay, we would have been like people saying, well, "You should your parents should go to prison." We would have been like, "Fuck you, get away from my mom and dad," which is probably what the Brigade children would say to the same righteous.
No, they said to the police, "Do you have clean clothes? I've been wearing these clothes for a couple days." Literally. That's what they said, not "fuck you, police officer." They asked for clean fucking clothes.
Clean clothes from the cops.
From the cops, like, you stupid
They
asshole.
had the guys that had to break into their house. They still turned to them
and said,
for safety and clean clothes.
Please give me some fucking clothes. My dad's an asshole and hasn't been taking care of me.
Social justice warriors who are demanding that Nick and Kayla go to prison. They'd say, "Fucking get away from our parents."
This is the
We
big
don't want
straw
them to
man
go to
too, by
prison.
the way. The people demanding that they go to prison is just a straw man.
I'm not demanding. Kind of hope it though. Like, fuck you.
I mean, if it happens, like whatever happens, happens. But I haven't seen anybody.
I mean, nobody could make that demand. I mean, they're not like.
I haven't seen anybody running around screaming that Nick Reki and his wife need to be in prison and locked up for that. Well, I mean, I hear hyperbole from like.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset about it. Fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, chips fall where chips fall.
Yeah.
We love our mom and dad. We understand they have a problem. They got to get straightened out. We want life to go back to the way it was.
Well, of course they want life to go back to the way it was.
Yeah, when they were fed and bathed.
When they were fed and they were
taken care
they
of.
felt safe and taken care of.
Yeah,
and they
of course.
were clean and this is it's just awful.
Yeah.
The take is just so bad.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
The kids will all be okay. I it happened to me. It was horrible. Look at me. I went to school hungry. Yes.
And look
I
at you
look
now.
at you, and I see a man with an eating disorder who's fat, probably because he wasn't fed as a child. I see a man who's a clothes horse, who spends far too much money on some of the most ridiculous fucking clothes on the planet because you didn't have clean new clothes when you were a kid. You are carrying some deep psychological issues with you, Ethan. And for you to say that these kids are going to be okay because I'm okay is just complete and total bullshit. You're an asshole.
Yeah, well, mostly he's not okay. And he is the prime. Okay. He is the prime example of why it's illegal to have parents like the Rekitas. He is the prime example. Eventually, lawmakers looked and saw people like EVS and thought, wow, we should probably stop parents like the Rekitas.
Yeah.
It should be illegal to parent like the Rekitas. Because look at this fat slob piece of shit who can't do anything. Right. He is the poster child for child neglect.
And
that's fucked up.
It taught him responsibility. Like those books.
What responsibility?
What responsibility?
He's driving home drunk with his kid in the car. What responsibilities? It's fucking insane. He is supposed to be responsible for getting things to his
backers,
the people that bought stuff from him. Doesn't feel responsible for that because he just doesn't do it. What are you responsible for? Nothing. Now let's continue.
The other thing about it is, and this is kind of if you're thinking from the kids' standpoint, from the kids' perspective, we all learned how to stand on our own 2 feet. You see this person here who's sitting before you who doesn't give a shit what Gary Nerdrotic says or does, what Eric July is gonna, their efforts to deplatform me and all this stuff. Marvel and DC, I don't need them. I can do this by myself. And one of the reasons why is because I grew up having to look after myself. I grew up having to become self-reliant, having to make plans, having to, cope with life, as it were, being unkind to me, being unfair, and finding a way to be self-reliant. I didn't become a welfare kid. I wasn't I was never, I never took a handout. I never did anything like that. Listen, this stuff actually is probably, I know this sounds hard to believe to some of you pussies, this is actually going to be good for the kids, okay? In a way, it is. They're going to grow up to be stronger, more self-reliant, as long as they can,
grow up to be big,
they realize,
narcissists.
To some degree, we got to make sure our own clothes are clean. We got to, we got to feed ourselves. It all sounds terrible. It's going to be better for them. It was better for us in
a
way. It built stronger Americans. Okay, which is how I see it. And what I'm hoping for is I'm hoping to see, and I hope you guys are too, because you're not insane. Okay, I'm hoping for a beautiful redemption arc. I'd like to see whatever happens to Nick be fair. It's some punishment is coming his way. Whatever it is, I hope it's not too extreme. I hope it's fair. And I'd like to see him get into recovery and turn his life around and get back to being the Nick of 6 years ago. And I think that's what everybody wants. Yes. Would you ever want to be taken away from your parents? Would you ever want the government to take your parents away from you just because you were hungry in your tummy?
Well, yeah. If I'm going without food for a couple days, I'm not being bathed. I'm fucking 6 years old. If I was able to comprehend the situation properly, well, yeah. Of course I would. I want to be fed. I don't want to hear another man fucking my mom.
Too much to ask.
Than my dad. Yeah. I don't even want to hear that, but it's fucked. What do you? Yes, I think kids want to eat, Ethan. I think kids want to fucking eat, bro. Candy Hummers says, I got my kids taken away more times than I can count. They were always whining, I'm thirsty, my bones hurt, wham. Brats never pull their weight. Well, that's, I think that is right because it came from a $5 super chat. Brats
it has to be true.
Yeah.
Thank you very
much. It isn't
much.
that bad.
Thank you.
I would say you take the kids away when they're being beaten and, cigarettes are being put out on them, but
we've gone from child neglect to literal abuse. There is a difference. But that doesn't make child neglect okay just because they could be getting physically abused.
It could be a lot worse.
What the fuck is wrong with them? This is gonna be good for the kids. It would be hilarious if it weren't so dark, says Central Scrutinizer. And there was another one. If only we could all have had drug-addicted parents. Yes, if only. We'd all be stronger. We'd all be strong. We'd all be more like Ethan.
Having parents that are...
Just think about that. We could all be more like Ethan.
Just neglectful is not... I know this sounds bad. It's not the worst thing in the world, okay? It is. Jabba the Cuck says, all children need to be neglected. EVS 2024. Well, I don't know. KC Shuffle. How long before AI is being referred to? Mr. Archer says, is it not common for 6-year-olds to feed themselves and 12-year-olds to take care of younger siblings? I had great parents and this was totally normal for me. Yes. Okay, now everybody else is going to pretend that that's an outrage and it's crazy. Mr. Archer, Yeah, there was once a world where
See, here's the problem. Firstly, it's not a teenager's job to take care of the kids.
Their siblings.
But even if it was, even if like you were to put that responsibility on them, the main thing is legally they're not responsible and it's not being done. Which would then, you would think, the parents should step in and take care of their kids. So even if what Ethan is saying is true, which it's not, but even if it was, ultimately, the parents still need to step in and take care of their fucking kids.
Yeah.
Because they're going hungry, and you can't just let your kids not eat or not be bathed. Like, what the fuck? Yo, what's up, Bar? How you doing, man?
Hi, man.
It's just it's fucking insane, guys.
6-year-olds would make their own sandwiches, and also, if you were a 12-year-old, you were responsible in some way for helping out around the house, and that might include babysitting. Can you imagine?
Babysitting, but we're talking, these parents are home. Getting fucked up every night and not taking care of their kids. It's not babysitting.
Yeah, being a child of the 80s, older than a little bit older than Ethan, where
She is an old bitch.
Yeah, he goes on to brag about, babysitting. Well, sure, I was babysitting at like 13, 14, 2 houses down the street, right? I mean, it's not like my parents weren't right there. It wasn't that there wasn't a phone right there. I mean, it wasn't that I had been judged to be responsible enough to be in charge of someone's children, right? Like you were saying, if that sibling is incapable of the oldest of taking care of these younger children because their drug addicted parents are busy fucking their nanny, then maybe somebody needs to help that child out because they're still a child.
Yeah. And these are children that probably, like, realistically, don't know how to take care of themselves. And that's not their fault.
Look, I had some wacky parents, right? We were in
How are you just gonna?
No, I'm interrupting. We when I was 13 and my sister was 11, my parents let us roam the streets of Hong Kong at night. I mean, I had some wacky, let the kids just do some, flat out dangerous shit, or what would be considered dangerous now. But my parents also made sure that we could do that. That we weren't going to get in trouble.
I just want to point out to Vicky.
It is
you
weird.
Do that again, I will mute you, motherfucker. I swear to fucking God, Vicky. But it's like these kids probably don't know how to take care of themselves, and it's not their fault. Their parents had a nanny. They probably don't know how to cook, especially with food that's probably not in the house because they're probably not going to the grocery store. Like, you know.
Shade.
Oh, come on! Don't do that. No deleting chats.
No timing out.
Yeah.
Unless it breaks TOS, nobody gets timed out.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like they had a nanny. They were never taught by their parents to fend for themselves.
Obviously.
And neither should they. They're like a bunch of them are fucking 6 and fucking like
between like 6 and 15, something like that. 16 maybe.
Like
it's not their responsibility.
Yeah, it's just fucked up, man.
We're like, the same people that complain about how society is infantilizing itself are the same people who are sitting there like, what? He's got 5 kids between the ages of 6 and 16 and they had to fend for themselves? What the fuck is this? Yes.
It's fucked up is what it is.
It's okay. At some point, yeah.
But it's not okay. And here's the reality of it. You fat fucking retard. The law says it's not okay. Right? What you're actually doing is coping. Because everything you're saying doesn't change the fact that Nick got arrested for this shit. So you can cry, oh, the kids should be taking care of themselves. That's fucking cope. Cope caused by your trauma from your shitty parents.
Yep.
So, like, it doesn't, it's never going to change the law, Ethan, you stupid asshole. And you're only going to look infinitely more stupid than you already do when this doesn't work out for Nick. Are you going to blame the kids when the fucking jury decides Nick's guilty? Are you going to blame the kids for the judge not throwing out the case? Like, how far are we going to go, you stupid asshole? How far are you willing to damage yourself when this eventually doesn't go away?
Older kids have to pitch in, and kids do have to, look, you might have to, hey, you might have to put some laundry soap in the washer. You might have to wash your own clothes. You might have to do your brothers and sisters' clothing, too. You might have to do some laundry. Vickyverse says, one of Racket's small children asked the cops for clean clothes. Sure. But no, he, to me, like shooting up and cocaine and, drinking too much, drinking
Yeah, that never happened,
to the point
according
where,
to Ethan.
here's the thing that you gotta, here's the question that you've got to ask yourself. Like, are you able to defend your family in the case of an accident, a fire, a break-in, any of these things? When you are intoxicated and on drugs and just out, should any of those circumstances occur, you're not going to be.
Are you able to drive your kid home from a Phillies game? And not, possibly get pulled over for a DUI? Are you able to be a responsible parent who doesn't make their kid get into the car with them while they're drunk?
Drunk?
Are you able to defend your family from your DUI? Like,
be able to defend your family, and I think that's really all it comes down to. Like, can you handle emergency situations? And if you're using drugs and alcohol to the extent that you cannot protect your family in a reasonable way as a man, then you're probably you got to stop it. Yellow Flash, who has always been Comicsgate, turned on me for no reason. I didn't do anything to him. I didn't say anything bad about him. I didn't betray him in any way. On the contrary, I was very loyal to him.
Are you saying people actually made videos based on those? I mean,
videos, live streams.
I've been out. It's like I didn't think they would do that. I mean, I've only been doing this 2.5 years, so I'm learning
It got out there.
Oh yeah, no, these had the legs of their own.
I'm in the DMs and I didn't even know this. Okay, well, whatever. It's fine.
Oh, that's what
There was even a
live stream by this guy that calls people fat, but he's got giant man boobs, a failed comic book artist, called me trash while he blamed Nick's children.
I thought you actually had to put a comic book out to be considered an artist.
It's true. He blamed Nick's children for all the problems that were going on. They should have stepped up. Why didn't Nick's kids step up? I just don't. That's what a stupid fucking take that is. Fucking piece of shit. Why he's driving around drunk, by the way, with his kid in the car. That's a video that's out there now.
Where is that out, Yellow Flash? Where is it?
The other thing about
Yellow.
Where the fuck is that video out? He'll never say because he hates us.
He hates.
But I'm glad he watched our content because we're the only ones that put that up. Because we got it before it was taken down.
Yep.
Just saying. You're welcome, Yellow Flash. Feel free to use more of the stuff that we put out there in your stupid fucking word salads.
God, I hate Yellow Flash.
Definitely not. 100% doesn't. I mean, there's a picture of Yellow Flash out. Definitely not bigger than fucking Ethan.
No.
Even though Ethan put up that picture recently and claimed the yellow flash is fatter than him, and it's like, wait, what?
Wait,
how-
no.
Does Ethan have like body dysmorphia? Does he see a very different person in the mirror?
He might.
He might. When Yellow Flash is the responsible drunk in the situation, you know you're in horrible territory. Crack is back, says Candy Hummers. Somebody said, don't do cocaine. Never do cocaine, smoke crack. Bow! Smoke crack. Imagine being an autistic child to this fat jack. Ooh. I should really read these before I highlight them and
You
read
really
them out loud.
should. Yeah.
The kids didn't open the door for the cops. Based. That's fair. Ethan also asked, what makes these dummies all think they should do comics? The answer was, of course, Ethan. He would regularly ask Flash and any big channel, when are you going to do a book? Yeah. Ethan's on the verge of having his own gravitational pull.
He is.
He really is.
Yeah.
Now, there's a screenshot of Nick Rekieta super chatting, saying, oh, both Lady R and I are on unconditional bond. The government literally fucked up. It should be rectified on Monday. Shockingly, I have the receipt.
Yeah, it's what it sounds like is that they both were released under bond instead of, everybody's been saying that Nick paid the bond, she didn't, she's got a drug test and be ready for random visits and shit like that, with no alcohol in the house or drugs or anything. I think it was just a paperwork snafu. So a lot of the speculation is, wrong. I guess most of it would be anyway, because most of it comes from the sector Kiwi farms. No offense. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow if it's fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But that just means that those two can continue just doing everything that they're doing.
Yeah, without worrying about the police.
Yeah, he's redoing the studio. He's getting rid of the booze theme in the studio, which I guess he's hoping will help his case. But really what they need to do is they need to go to rehab and have presented that to the court before anything else. Say, look, we're clean. We're fucking sober. I mean, they probably won't get much more than a fine, maybe a couple months, probation after. Because the real battle's not going to be over these drug charges. It's going to be with CPS about getting their kids back.
Yeah, which is fucked up. Will25 says, if Dean's parents move away, will Dean be able to feed and clothe himself? Probably not, and they should be arrested for child abandonment, as well as child neglect. Yeah. So, EVS promotes Mandy's shit comic True, and she's just a repurposed cam girl and hot wife. I'm always a hot maid, never a hot wife, says Candy Hummers. Winchell says, Vicky said go to rehab. Nick said no, no, no. Yeah, he's on his Whitney Houston shit. But Vicky, I know you told me 1,000 times. Which one comes next? Is it the Kino Casino clip or is it the Yellow Flash? You're hard to listen to, so I wasn't paying attention the 5 times you said it.
The Kino Casino clip.
All right, let's do it, guys.
Look at this. Look at this shit. How come the kids would rather wear the same clothes than do their own laundry? There are teenagers in the Rekieta brood, and they're not stepping up. I realized there was a nanny until there wasn't. Privileged kids, do your wash.
There's I want to apologize because there's like 2 times in this clip, it's like a 5-minute clip, where Worski talked.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for that. He really should stop ruining PPP's show.
He needs to get
How
a new
about you
co-host.
spit on Reki and not the kids?
Isn't
How
this
about you?
fucked?
Oh, or maybe, and Reki was the one responsible, and his wife, for raising the kids, right? Also, Mrs. Rackets didn't have a job. Also, Nick is a millionaire.
Like, people would be more willing to understand if parents are really doing their very best, but they're falling short, okay? Versus parents that have every privilege in the world, every resource in the world, extended family willing to help, millions of dollars, they had a nanny, they had all this stuff, and they f***ed up and their children are starving and stinky. You know, the laundry machine is behind the crack den, so that probably solves why the kids weren't washing their own clothes, because they didn't want to have to go into the degenerate cuckold crack den where their father was fucking a woman other than their mom, and their mom was taking from Aaron and Wonder why. I mean, you know, we have grown adults who are depressed and who aren't taking care of themselves, not doing laundry, not brushing their teeth, you know, letting these habits fall, right? Grown adults. How about maybe the kids were fucking really depressed? You know?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, how about the kids were just traumatized, depressed,
tired?
But they need to be held to a standard for not stepping up, and not the cokehead cuckolds that are their parents.
And by the way, he'll go after Eric July for using 3D assets in a video that's promoting a comic book. For months, Ashton. Fucking 6 months of Eric July. Look, the hand is drawn not that good. Eric July did this. Eric July, 6 months.
He needs to be taken to task. He asked why Kiwi Farms wasn't A-logging Eric July. Why aren't you guys trolling Eric July? But we're not supposed to troll this guy because it's his kid's fault? Really? That's actually the sick, fucked up mindset that this guy has. Even if it's true that Eric July is trying to get you deplatformed from stuff, which I condemn and think is really gay, it doesn't measure up to being a fucking coke fiend that neglects and doesn't feed your children. It just doesn't. This is wild shit, because Quartering says, like, this is a legendary sweep by Ethan Van Sciver.
Respects.
Mom and dad are on a 3-month coke bender. Why haven't the children
Right?
Here comes EVS to let us all know, hey man, I know your only experience with children is watching them on banned Netflix documentaries. There are dysfunctional families all over the world where mommy and daddy aren't available to serve what you might think are basic needs. What happens in those scenarios is that kids grow up quickly and learn to become self-sufficient. It's wild. EVS is pulling an extra slimy maneuver, claiming the kids are too lazy to make their own lunches, but the parents aren't even covering the basics like groceries.
Yeah.
Does it fall on the kids to stack the pantry with their own money that doesn't exist? On top of cooking, cleaning, homework, study, round-the-clock care for the youngest? He would say yes. It's those children's responsibility. It doesn't fall on the parents. You know that this line is a lie. When he says this isn't to excuse Nick or Kayla, but his next line is this sarcastic bullshit. Feel free to be angry with them and want them in prison for life. I don't know if anybody is actually asking for them to be in prison for life.
No one's.
You know what I mean?
Straw man.
And it's like trying to make it out to be like, oh, if you're angry with them, you're a fucking unhinged lunatic. No, you're the unhinged fucking lunatic. Because as a kid who grew up in a similar household with 8 brothers or sisters, we learned to take care of ourselves. My argument is you shouldn't have had to. He's not just leaving it to tweets. He's doing it on his show as well.
Yeah.
I grew up having to become self-reliant, having to make plans, having to, cope with life, as it were, being unkind to me, being unfair, and finding a way to be self-reliant. I didn't become a welfare kid. I wasn't like, I was never,
Buddy,
I
pause.
never.
when he says shit like he didn't become a welfare kid, is he not aware that his entire life is crowdfunded? How are you self-sufficient when you can't even fund your own comic book projects, let alone deliver on them?
Man, that's a fair point. How?
That's a very good point.
Yeah, your entire life is crowdfunded. Really, that whole clip was just for that. Because that was fire.
That was the best part.
Yeah, your entire life is crowdfunded. Ooh. Liam says, I am appeared, Liam, watchers of streams, maker of manga. Well, that's cool, man. Good to have you.
Hi, Liam.
PPP 8 Grimace. There's a lot of making fun of PPP and Worski. We have, except Risey says, I like that Worski guy. Got a good voice.
He's such a tard, though. Yeah.
I wouldn't even say his voice is good.
No.
I think
He
Risey's
does
trolling.
that weird Canadian thing where he talks through his nose.
Yeah. Well, PPP also says mum. Not sure if you guys caught that, but mum. It's weird. Cornbread Man said hand emote and side eye open mouth face.
Because we're looking at nothing.
Hail unintelligent. Oh. Hold on. There's just bricks. There we are. We are no longer ghosts. The problem is Ethan thinks his own neglectful and abusive childhood was acceptable.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. You grow up to be Ethan. Like, fuck, man. Fuck. In fact, here's a screenshot from Ethan's brother, Noah, book called One Dirty Tree.
Yep.
And it says, watch where you're going, a-hole. And person says, what? Comes, hits him, and then he cries. And then I think that's the mom says, Lord love a duck, what's going on? He called me an a-hole, and he needs a bath, he smells. Oh no. Oh no. This was was EVS's childhood, because that's what the book is based off of, is the family's history.
Childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they also went unbathed. Pretty fucked up.
I guess Ethan wasn't doing the laundry.
I guess he didn't step up and bathe his younger brother like he should have, because it's his responsibility if the parents aren't going to, according to him.
According to Ethan.
Yeah, fucked up, man. And lastly, guys, we have a Yellow Flash clip. So, let's.
That's the Ethan one from earlier tonight, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or do we watch it? It is Yellow Flash. We'll watch it.
No, it's
wonder you're obsessed
Ethan
with Eric
screaming
July.
about Yellow Flash.
Oh, yeah.
I have
It's
a
even
question. What's
better.
Fearsome? Was that a comic book? I'm so out of the loop.
Yes, it's a comic book. By the way, Yellow Flash, your friends are really backing you up.
He got
here.
really mad. Dude didn't know that
It-
Fearsome was.
They're
his
not
new
at all ashamed
not
of
selling
you,
well
and
comic.
they don't just feel. See, the reason why I do Trashcast by myself is because I don't want to put 9 other people on the spot and embarrass them and make them feel awkward when I'm having when I'm angry and I'm tirading about something. Literally look at Raging Rhino.
So he is big mad at the internet. Just so you know,
Yes.
Trashcast is him big mad at the internet. He said so.
Yeah, he said that's why he did Trash Cat.
He doesn't want other people there ruining him being big mad at the internet.
Look at George. Oh my God, look at Mark. Even potentially criminals, like, yeah, that's great. It's great to be here.
I guess. Not a lot of people backing it. I can tell
And
you.
Demian breaks the tension there.
Yeah, everyone. It feels like everyone. I guess I'm kind of perfectly placed right now because everyone around me seems to know what the fuck is happening, and I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know.
I thought we were reviewing leaked
I thought we were looking
messages,
at
not
the
catching
DMs.
strays
Yeah.
because you're random. I'm not catching strays from all these people.
I thought we were going to
Fuck all
DMs,
this.
but yeah.
I was trying to throw it to you, Tug, for some professional evaluation there, but you might have stepped
And by the way, Tug actually, what Tug says here is awesome.
away. So.
Yeah, I'm not catching strays in this fucking fight. You guys want to fight with EVS and shit? That's fine, man. I'm just talking about the, with all this stuff. I mean, it's a real.
Now Tug is such a great guy. Tug's like, you know what? You guys want to fight with EVS? That's up to you. How many of your friends want to fight with me, Yellow Flash? How did it go for you? Can I just ask you?
It seems to be going fine for him.
More interestingly is the guy, like, he's like, I was just trying to throw it to you, Tug, for your professional opinion, because he asked Tug twice, right, about, because Tug is a mental health professional.
And a
so
doctor.
he asked him twice for his professional opinion about Nick's situation and recovery and all this stuff. And the first time, Tug ignores the question. The second time, Tug was like, oh, I didn't hear you, but never answers it. And then he does this weird babble talk thing right here, right? Which is what Tug is doing. He's just babbling and saying nothing, but making lots of noises, and people think that he's like erudite or something.
How fighting with me is.
Tug is most definitely not a licensed mental health care professional.
Yeah, or a doctor, which he's also claimed.
Which is why he talks around it, because if somebody asks a professional opinion from Tug and he gives one, he's fucked by the law. Like,
well, I mean,
the
he should be fucked
like,
regardless because he's claimed
he should
to
be
be
fucked
one.
because he claims to be. But if he actually gave like some sort of mental health diagnosis, especially over the internet,
while claiming to be
one when he's not. That's sorry.
Holding yourself out as a doctor when you're not is a crime.
But I just think more people need to know that Tug claims to be a mental health care professional and does not hold a license in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah. Winchell asks, why would a mental health professional who is actually good at their job become a YouTuber? I don't have an answer for you.
I don't either.
Turning out for you? The only way you get an audience now is when I'm not streaming. How's it going for you? Pretty good. Tug knows better than that. Most of these guys know that. I told Eric July, you don't want a war with me. Look at his numbers.
Wait.
Tug don't want a war with me.
But I thought
I thought they were cool.
Yeah, well, I also thought, I told him you don't want a war with... I thought he backstabbed you or whatever faggot excuse you used and cried about on streams multiple times. But now you're like some big tough guy. I told Eric July he doesn't want a war with me. I thought he threatened you. And you just didn't know what happened. It's fucking crazy. You didn't say that. First of all, it would be fucking weird to say. It's like, you don't want a war with me. Nobody talks like that in real life.
Not even on YouTube.
Ethan doesn't talk like that until he's explaining a story that didn't happen.
Yep.
But that'd just be fucking insane. If somebody said, you don't want a war with me, to me, I'd say, what the fuck is wrong with you, you weird faggot?
Every time he sounds just a little bit like Tony Soprano, you know it never fucking happened. That's just general rule of thumb, guys. If he ever starts talking like a mafia fucking boss, you know he's full of shit.
Yeah.
About whatever story he's telling. Because that's what he's doing here.
FKA322 says, now numbers matter. Ethan must think Friday Night Tights is the greatest show ever. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Because their numbers shit all over Ethan. So how's it going well for you, Ethan, that fight against Friday Night Tights? Probably pretty fucking bad.
Don't fight with me. Don't tell me what to do. Don't lie about me. It's for the best. Tug is awesome, I agree. Tug isn't a dummy. Tug should avoid the yellow flush. Base Tug. Probably not a great idea. you know. All right, here we go.
Really sad situation. It's a terrible situation.
I just never thought I would see somebody blame the children.
Nobody's blaming the children, you fucking retard.
Why aren't the children stepping up and not making their own lunches and their
doing their own laundry?
Sounds like you're fucking blaming the kids because you were. Like, that's just a fact.
Nobody is blaming the children at all. What we're saying is the children can eat a sandwich and they can get their clothes. We're not blaming them for their addiction.
He still doesn't.
Nobody's saying this thing that I'm about to say right now. Like, okay, dude.
The parents' addiction, it's awful, dude. We're trying to keep the family together, you asshole. We're trying to make it so that the government doesn't have to step in and take the kids away from their parents. You piece of shit. This isn't just an internet. See, you're doing this for clout. You're sitting there trying to get approval from certain folks on the internet who hate Nick Rekieta. You're trying to get ass pats from them because that's what you value. That's your currency. I don't want any of that. I don't give a fuck.
Hard.
The idea is to keep the little family together and to hope, I really hope Nick gets better, but you know what? The kids need to be taken away from him. If the family's going to stay together, the kids do have to learn some household skills here. They've been pampered. Okay?
If the family's going to stay together, those kids really need to start being their own parents. Because their parents aren't going to, guys. Like, that's what we're trying to say. Like, what type of fucking world are you living in, dude? It's fucking... It's great. Finatra says, say something nice about me, Dean. I've really appreciated, Finatra. It's very kind of you that you haven't been streaming much. Did that work for you?
God, you're a dick.
And it's Nick and Kayla, I guess, not the best parents, because I learned how to do this when I was a kid. I had 8 brothers and sisters, and I had parents who were also involved with drugs. And you know what? We didn't go hungry because we knew how to make a pot of spaghetti when mom and dad were being depressed, weren't around. We knew how to do our own laundry. Nobody went to school with dirty clothes. We all got jobs.
He said that he went to school with dirty clothes, but now he says nobody went to school
to a bunch of people who make content every single fucking day about how entitled and retarded this generation is. Why is this even a conversation that I'm having with conservatives?
With conservatives. Why does it always come down to that stupid ass fucking shit?
Yeah, child neglect knows no politics.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's been a pretty long one, guys.
It has.
About an hour and a half.
I apologize again for that first video, you guys.
I apologize for Vicky.
It'll probably happen again.
Just her being here. I'm sorry. Very sorry. Before we go, let's watch Ethan call us ball washers again.
Again.
Once again, this is all happening. This entire thing where he's trying to find the words to explain what's going on here is all happening because he got caught in a lie. Because there are detractors out there. Not me. I'm not doing it. There are detractors out there who are watching his every word, and they're looking at the campaigns carefully. People like Vickyverse, even though Vickyverse is not fucking doing her job. Vickyverse is an Eric July ball washer now. Her and her retarded co-host. Washing Eric July's balls instead of actually listening to what he says and holding him to account for his lies. Washing Eric July's balls. Washing Eric July's balls. Washing Eric July's balls. Young Rip is in the chat. How you doing, Eric? Great to see you. Thanks for being Eric. Oh my God, please shout us out. Please send the link out to people, and I would love to come on your show sometime this week.